Something strange is happening in grocery stores this September. Your favorite essentials might vanish from the shelves, and it's not just rumors. We're talking about the things you rely on every day. Suddenly harder to find, pricier, or even gone. Why do they disappear, and which items are at risk? These shortages are not solely due to a hiccup in the supply chain. They are the result of larger, global forces. Stick around because you'll want to know what's missing before you head to the store next time. What could vanish next? You might be surprised. The first item on the list is rice. For billions of people, rice is a daily necessity. It's more than just a side dish. It's a staple that feeds entire nations. However, rice is currently facing significant challenges on a global scale. So, why is rice disappearing from grocery stores? One of the main reasons is a climate phenomenon known as El Niño. El Niño has caused unusually dry conditions across many parts of Asia, where a large portion of the world's rice is produced. Countries like India, Thailand, and Vietnam, which are among the largest rice exporters, have seen rice production drop dramatically. This is because rice farming depends heavily on consistent rainfall, and this year, the rain just hasn't come in the quantities needed. As a result, rice crops are struggling. Take India, for example. As the world's largest rice exporter, India has already had to limit its exports to protect its own domestic supply. This move has sent shockwaves across the global market, leading to higher rice prices everywhere. We're talking about the highest rice prices in nearly 15 years. This price spike has made it harder for many countries that rely on imported rice to afford it. For instance, nations in Africa and the Middle East, which heavily depend on rice imports, are feeling the pinch. But it's not just a price issue. Availability is also becoming a major concern. The global supply chain is experiencing strain due to the withdrawal of major exporters like India. There are fewer shipments in supermarkets, and what does arrive is often more expensive. And it's not just the rice itself. Products made from rice, like rice flour and rice noodles, could also be affected. So, if rice is a part of your weekly meals, it might be time to stock up while you can. There's also the issue of transportation costs. With rising fuel prices and ongoing global shipping delays, the cost of getting rice from farms to stores is climbing. This is further pushing up prices and leading to sporadic availability. So, if you're someone who eats rice regularly or uses it in cooking, you might notice that your local grocery store has fewer options, higher prices, or even empty shelves where your favorite rice brand used to be. In short, rice is in trouble due to a combination of bad weather, export restrictions, and the ongoing issues with global supply chains. We could see even more shortages in the coming months, especially if the dry weather continues and other rice-producing countries face similar problems. Number 2, wheat products. Next up is wheat, another staple that many of us take for granted. Whether it's bread, pasta, or cereals, wheat is an integral part of our diets. But just like rice, wheat is facing some serious challenges right now that could make it harder to find on store shelves. So, what's happening with wheat? Much of the problem comes back to the weather. Major wheat-producing regions, like Australia and the United States, are grappling with droughts and extreme heat. In Australia, the past few years have seen record-breaking wheat harvests, but 2024 is shaping up to be different. Severe droughts and rising temperatures predict significantly lower wheat yields this year. This will have a ripple effect across the global wheat market, making wheat-based products like bread, pasta, and baked goods more expensive. And it's not just Australia. Europe is also facing challenges, with heat waves affecting crop growth. This has led to lower wheat yields in countries like France and Germany, both of which are significant wheat exporters. As a result, there is less wheat available on the global market, and this shortage is driving up prices. To make matters worse, geopolitical issues are also playing a role. The ongoing conflict in Ukraine has had a direct impact on wheat supplies. Ukraine and Russia together account for nearly a third of the world's wheat exports. The conflict has disrupted farming and export routes, thereby removing a significant portion of the global wheat supply from the market. This has further exacerbated the shortages we're seeing. These shortages affect not only wheat in its raw form, but also the many products made from it. Bread, pasta, cereals, and other baked goods are all feeling the impact. Supermarkets are struggling to maintain these items in stock, and when they do, the prices are often significantly higher than previously. The combination of higher demand and lower supply is putting a strain on everything from your favorite loaf of bread to the pasta you cook for dinner. The wheat situation is also driving up costs in the food service industry. Bakeries, restaurants, and food manufacturers are paying more for flour, which means higher prices for consumers down the line. Therefore, the impact extends beyond grocery stores, affecting the entire food industry. Another important factor to consider is how wheat shortages affect global food security. Wheat is a staple food in many developing countries, and when supplies are low or prices soar, it can lead to serious issues with hunger and malnutrition. Governments are already stepping in to try and mitigate the impact, but there's only so much they can do when the global supply is under such strain. So, if you notice that your favorite wheat-based products are harder to find or more expensive in the coming weeks, now you know why. Climate change, geopolitical tensions, and rising production costs are combining to create an ideal environment for wheat shortages. Number 3. Olive oil. Let's start with olive oil, one of the most popular and versatile kitchen ingredients. Whether you use it for cooking, dressing salads, or dipping bread, olive oil has earned its place as a staple in kitchens around the world. But unfortunately, it's becoming increasingly harder to find, and it's not just because of high demand. Here's what's going on. Olive oil production is heavily reliant on weather, and the past few years have seen some of the most erratic weather conditions in history. Severe droughts have severely reduced olive yields in countries like Spain and Italy, two of the largest olive oil producers. According to recent reports, Spain alone is seeing a 50% drop in olive oil production. Droughts affect the amount of water the olive trees get, which is crucial during their growth stages. Without enough rain, trees don't produce enough fruit, and the result is a smaller harvest. But that's not the only problem. Olive trees have also been battling pests, particularly a bacteria known as Xylella fastidiosa, which has devastated olive groves across Europe. This disease is particularly dangerous because it blocks water from reaching the trees, effectively starving them. Once infected, saving a tree can become challenging, if not impossible. All these factors combined mean that olive oil is not only becoming harder to find, but also significantly more expensive. In fact, prices have already started to climb, and experts predict that we could see record highs in the coming months. If olive oil is a regular part of your diet, now might be the time to stock up before the prices rise even more. Number 4. Coffee. Next up, coffee. An essential for millions of people around the world who need that daily caffeine fix. But coffee lovers might soon face some bitter news. Coffee is another staple under threat, and the reasons are just as concerning as with olive oil. The problem with coffee stems from climate change. Coffee plants are extremely sensitive to temperature changes, and many coffee-producing countries, such as Brazil, Colombia, and Vietnam, have been experiencing unusual weather patterns that are disrupting their harvests. For example, Brazil, the world's largest coffee producer, faced one of the worst droughts in recent history, followed by unexpected frosts that damaged vast swaths of coffee crops. But weather isn't the only issue here. Pests such as the coffee leaf rust disease are devastating coffee crops and have been spreading across coffee farms, particularly in Central America. This disease weakens coffee plants and reduces the quality and quantity of the beans. Combine that with the labor shortages many coffee farms are facing, and you've got a perfect storm that's affecting the entire coffee supply chain. What does this mean for you? Well, much like olive oil, coffee prices are already on the rise, and it's likely they'll continue to increase as supplies dwindle. If these conditions persist, some experts are even predicting that we could see coffee shortages by the end of the year. If you're a daily coffee drinker, you might want to consider stocking up or looking for alternatives like switching to more sustainable, locally sourced options that may not be as affected by these global issues. Number 5. Chicken. Finally, let's talk about chicken. Chicken is one of the most consumed proteins around the world, especially in the US, where it's a staple of many households. But the reality is, chicken might soon be harder to find and more expensive than we've seen in a long time. Why? Several factors contribute to this issue, including rising feed costs and the looming threat of avian flu. Feed is one of the largest expenses for poultry farmers, and the price of grain, particularly corn and soybeans, has been rising steadily due to global shortages. As feed prices rise, the cost of raising chickens increases, inevitably impacting consumers. But feeding isn't the only problem. There's also the avian flu, which has been making a comeback in certain parts of the world, including Europe and parts of Asia. When an outbreak occurs, the virus quickly spreads through flocks, necessitating the culling of millions of birds to stop its spread. The combination of these factors puts a significant strain on chicken production. Farmers are producing less, and as a result, we're seeing shortages in some areas, along with a noticeable increase in prices. We expect this trend to persist until September, but its duration remains uncertain. So, if chicken is a staple in your meals, it might be time to think about diversifying your protein sources or looking for local farmers who may not be as affected by these global trends. Number 6. Canned tuna. Canned tuna is a versatile and convenient pantry staple. It is abundant in protein, low in calories, and has a shelf life of several years. Here are some key points about canned tuna. Nutritional benefits. Canned tuna is an excellent source of lean protein, omega-3 fatty acids, and essential vitamins and minerals like vitamin D, selenium, and iodine. It's available in two main types, oil-packed and water-packed. Oil-packed tuna tends to be higher in calories and fat, while water-packed tuna is lower in calories and fat, but still rich in nutrients. Health considerations. While canned tuna is generally healthy, it's important to be mindful of mercury levels, especially in albacore, white, tuna, which tends to have higher mercury content compared to light tuna varieties like skipjack. Sustainability. When choosing canned tuna, look for brands that use sustainable fishing practices and have certifications like MSC, Marine Stewardship Council, or Dolphin Safe. So there you have it, 3 essential grocery staples that could disappear from store shelves in the coming months: olive oil, coffee, and chicken. The causes are varied, but the impact is the same: shortages, rising prices, and a potential scramble to find alternatives. The best thing you can do right now is stay informed, plan ahead, and stock up on these items before they become even more difficult to find. But this isn't just about preparing for shortages. It's also a reminder of how interconnected our world is. A drought in Spain or a frost in Brazil can have a direct impact on what's available at your local grocery store. As these global challenges continue to shape our food supply, it's more important than ever to stay aware and adapt. If you found this information helpful, don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more updates on what's happening with our food supply, and let us know in the comments how you're preparing for these shortages. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time.